Man holding a piece in his hand, 1 centimeter diameter magnet attached to the dice cup, pretending to shake it hard. When everyone has placed their bets, he uses the magnet to change the number of points it will according to the odds on the field. He made all the gamblers lose their money. But this time, the man met a man pretending to be a novice. Roy was born with a hearing system that was unlike any other. With the slightest movement of his ears, he can hear the number of points on the dice. With a sharp shake of the dice cup, Roy pretends he's a novice. $30,000. I'll bet big. But just as the man was about to open the dice cup, Roy suddenly changes his mind because he heard the man using a magnet to change the dice in the dice cup from big dots to small dots, so he nimbly replaces the 3 chips with smaller ones. However, this didn't help. As long as the man has a magnet in his hand, he can change the dice points at any time. And sure enough, when the dice cup is opened, the dots are 4 and 6. 2 big ones. Seeing the man so pleased with himself, Roy was smiling too, for this was the trap that was laid for the man. Only when he was completely off guard, the chances of winning against him will only increase. And then Roy threw down 30,000 chips on the small side. As expected, it's still the big one. In just 2 minutes, Roy had lost 60,000. A friend on the sidelines couldn't stand it anymore. He said, "Stop playing, Roy." But Roy was calm. He said to the man, "Keep playing." The man saw that Roy was a complete nincompoop and his dice cup, shaking it frantically, and Roy closes his eyes, focusing all his attention on his ears, listening carefully for the sound of the dice rolling as the dice fall on the table. Roy opened his eyes and smiled as he placed all his remaining 40,000 chips on the 18 times odds. He heard the dice finally land on a 5 and a 6. The man saw that Roy had guessed correctly. His face suddenly changed. He quickly turned his back on one hand, pulling out the magnet in his sleeve again. When Roy wasn't looking, he silently attached it to the dice cup. The dice inside instantly swished and spun. However, the slightest sound could not escape Roy's ears. He saw that the man was about to open the dice cup. Roy held down the man's wrist so that he could no longer manipulate the magnet to change the number of points. Roy then moved the 40,000 chips to the same 18 times odds. The man looked at it and panicked. "What do you keep changing for?" Roy's friend sternly scolds him to open the dice. At this point, the man clenched his back teeth. He tried to make another move, but Roy had a firm grip on his wrist and he picked up the dice cup. Looking at the man's pained expression, Roy was overjoyed. Taking the check for the $720,000 he had won, he left in style.